Have you ever just stopped and wondered about the hidden rules that are running our world? You know, those invisible forces that seem to shape literally everything, from the global economy all the way down to the weather outside your window? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and uncover the secret anatomy of these incredible complex systems. Okay, picture this. You're stuck in one of those monster traffic jams. You're just crawling forward for miles, and you're thinking, okay, there's got to be an accident up ahead, a lane closure, something. But then there's nothing. The jam just melts away. So you're left wondering, where did that even start? And who is in charge of it? Or what about a simple, silly video that almost overnight is suddenly being watched by millions of people all around the globe? How does that happen? Or on a more serious note, think about the stock market suddenly taking a nosedive without any single obvious reason. So, who's the mastermind pulling the strings behind all these things? The answer is, well, it's kind of wild. It's no one. Yep, you heard that right. There's no leader, no central controller, no one in the driver's seat. These are all examples of a hidden order that just emerges all by itself. So to really get our heads around this, we need to start seeing the world as being made up of two totally different kinds of systems. You've got systems that are like clocks, and then you've got systems that are like jungles. Simple systems are, well, simple. They're like a clock. You can take it apart, you can look at every single gear, and you can predict with 100% certainty where the hands will be in 5 minutes. Easy. But complex systems, oh, they're like a living, breathing jungle. You've got millions of parts all interacting in unpredictable ways. You can know everything about every single tree, but you still have no idea what the jungle as a whole is going to do next. And you know what our biggest mistake is? We keep trying to solve jungle-like problems with clock-like thinking, and it just never, ever works. All right, so if no one is in charge, where does all this intelligent, organized behavior come from? This leads us to the absolute magic ingredient, a concept called emergence. It's like the ghost in the machine. Let's just start with one single ant. On its own, it's a pretty simple creature, right? It doesn't have some grand plan for world domination. It's not having any big philosophical ideas. It's just following a few really basic rules. But when you get thousands of these simple ants all together, something absolutely incredible starts to happen. They become what scientists call a superorganism. They build living bridges, they find the most efficient paths to food, they defend their colony, all with the kind of collective intelligence that no single ant could ever possess. And that is a perfect example of emergence. It's this phenomenon where complex, intelligent behavior just arises out of simple little agents that are all following simple little rules. It's the very definition of the whole being greater than the sum of its parts. I mean, think about a market, right? No single person decides the price of an apple, but the constant back and forth of thousands of buyers and sellers causes a fair market price to emerge completely on its own. It's amazing. Okay, so these systems create their own order without a boss. We get that. But how do they actually do it? Well, it turns out they all tend to operate on a few key principles, a few secret rules that explain how it all works. First up is the famous butterfly effect. Now, the official term for this is sensitive dependence on initial conditions. What that really means is that a tiny, almost unnoticeable change at the very beginning, like, say, a butterfly flapping its wings in the Amazon, can cascade into a massive, totally unpredictable result later on, like a tornado hitting Texas. This is exactly why perfect long-term prediction in these kinds of systems is basically impossible. The second rule is interconnectedness. In a complex system, everything is connected to everything else, almost like a giant spider's web. You touch one single thread over here, and the entire web starts to tremble. And get this, the story from Yellowstone National Park is a perfect example. A while back, they removed the wolves thinking it would help the deer population, but the deer population exploded and ate all the young trees. That meant fewer birds, but the lack of tree roots also caused the riverbanks to erode, which literally changed the physical course of the rivers, all because they removed one piece. It changed the geography of the whole park. And finally, these systems run on something called feedback loops. There are two main types. You've got positive feedback loops, which amplify change. Think of a snowball rolling downhill. A social media post gets a few shares, which gives it more visibility, which gets it even more shares. That's what makes things go viral. Then you have negative feedback loops, which are the stabilizers. They're like a thermostat in your house, always working to bring a system back into balance. A truly healthy system is just this beautiful, constant dance between these two forces. So this is the big question, right?
If we can't predict or control these complex systems, then what are we supposed to do? This brings us to the most important shift in thinking we need to make. We have to stop trying to control everything and instead learn how to dance. The absolutely brilliant systems thinker Donella Meadows put it perfectly. She said, "You can't control systems, but you can dance with them." This is such a profound idea. It's about being humble, it's about observing, and it's about working with the natural flow of the system instead of trying to fight it head on. So, how do you actually dance with a system? Well, first, you just watch it. You observe its rhythm and its flow. Second, you look for what's called a leverage point. That's a small spot where a tiny little push can create a really big effect. And then you just guide it gently. See, pushing against a system is like trying to build a massive, expensive concrete dam to stop a flood. But dancing with it, that's like planting trees way upstream, a small, simple action that prevents the erosion in the first place and solves the problem naturally. And that really brings us right to the final thought for today. Your health, your career, your relationships, every single one of them is a complex system. They are not clocks that you can just fix when they break. They're jungles that you have to nurture and guide. So the question to leave you with is this: instead of trying to control every single outcome, how will you start dancing with the complex systems in your own life?